You can see in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, our viewers can, the eye is still partially over Marco Island. But, Steve, we believe the eye of the storm is going to reach you very quickly as we approach 4 o'clock on the East Coast, and the maximum sustained winds of Hurricane Irma are now hitting between Marco Island and Naples. And Steve Harrigan's in Naples. Yep. Describe it.
There we go. Pardon my back, but no choice at this point. This wind is starting to swirl here behind me, and it's really gotten a lot darker, too. And you know that cliche about hurricanes when people say they heard the sound of a train or a boom. We just heard a large boom in the distance as well, too. So it's darker, and this has got to be the walleye. I think we're seeing over 100 right now as I'm just trying to keep my feet. And the other thing might be hard to notice is I've got, in the last 3 or 4 minutes, 6 or 7 inches of water here flowing like a small river. This is one of the highest parts in Naples, so we'd like to get around and show you much worse parts if we can, but I really don't think we can move and keep a signal up at this point. But you've got to figure the water is rising. That's what you don't see, and that's the real danger here, Shepard.
The water is rising, and the authorities tell us where you are, expect it to rise between 9 and 15 feet above ground level.
Yeah, these things are always so hard to visualize. I mean, to stand here and to think that you're going to be 3 feet underwater in the next few hours is hard to process, no matter how many storms you've been in.
I think you're very close to the eyewall now, Steve. I'm looking at the radar and knowing your exact location, and I think you're at the worst of it and probably will be for the next, I'm guessing now, 10 or 15 minutes, and then eyewall time, and then eye of the storm.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, if we can make it another 15, that's just a testament to Fox Engineering to be able to, they've gone through about 4 or 5 live views and a couple of BGANs to keep this shot up. So hats off to everybody here who got the equipment up to keep the shot up. If we can get through the next 15, I think we're going to be all right. But then the next day or two, we'll probably be showing you people's flooded houses, and hopefully not people who've been stuck in their cars or in those houses, Shepard.
Yeah, it is a unique opportunity to be able to do this. When it came ashore this morning around 9 o'clock in the Keys, we certainly know live coverage out of that key. But now the outer bands of this storm, watch the last movement here, just getting to Naples. So Steve is in the thick of it and will be now for, I don't know, foreseeable future.
Yep. Still not Gulfport, Shepard.
No, I understood when Katrina came ashore and wiped out the southern part of the state of Mississippi. That was another thing indeed. This storm 2 days ago was worse than that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they tell us.
You know, yep. Yeah, I'm just sorry for old people. I'm sorry for people on oxygen. I'm sorry for people out here who are scared. You know, we've been through them. We're not scared. I just consider it a technical challenge to try and stay up and to stand here. But I know people are hurting, and I know they're scared. And I'll tell you what, we're standing right here, and we're going to tell you what's happening throughout this as this water now gets to about 6 or 7 inches. And I can't even turn this way because it is pure gray. All the light is gone behind me, and the water is just coming sideways down this street, Shepard.
We now have a wider shot, and we can see the trees. That looks unbearable, and I'm sure there are people sitting in their living rooms going, get him the hell inside.
Yeah, yep.
We've learned not to tell Steve what to do.
Yeah. Well, whoa. Well, the trees are not snapping. I've seen branches, but not full trees. Category 4, you expect trees to be uprooted. You expect roofs to fly off, and you expect side walls to fly off. That's not happening here. We're seeing strong wind and branches snap, but we're not seeing disintegration of buildings.
Yeah, Category 3, maximum 120 miles an hour. It may have gone down just a little bit from that, but we don't have that from the National Hurricane Center. You'd be the better judge, I think, than the equipment right now, Steve.
think gusts of just over 100. But, you know, thank God I'm not seeing trees uprooted, because we would take shelter then. At least not where I am. I mean, I can't speak for the entire area. I'm just in this little corner here.
We do have an update as of just about 25 minutes ago from the Hurricane Center. Maximum sustained winds down to 115 miles an hour. The minimum pressure is up to 940 miles an hour, which means the thing is weakening as predicted, but not quickly enough.
This is just a stream of water now. This is more rain than we've seen so far today. It's coming in sideways, and it's just, there's no space in between the drops. And it's a stream down this road now. This road was dry an hour ago, and now it's a stream. And I've got to figure in the coastal areas, it's going to be much worse.
I would guess that's right. 115 miles an hour maximum sustained winds. That's down from 120 miles an hour in the last hour. And the update from the National Hurricane Center. Steve, just talk us through it as you can.
All right. We've seen worsening of conditions over the last hour or so. The part that you're really concerned about in any of these storms, wow. This is just circling now in front of me. The wind is beginning to swirl around. The worst part of any hurricane is the front right quadrant in the U.S., and we think that's what's been hitting the city of Naples now, a city of about 20,000 people. This storm has fooled a lot of people where it was going to hit. People in Miami were afraid. They went to Naples. I know people who moved their families to Naples. I almost moved mine here, but fortunately made a different decision. So people have tried to dodge this, and people left Naples and went north. To get out of this storm was such a headache, because basically you had to leave the state of Florida, and after a while you couldn't do that by plane. You can only do that by car, and there were gasoline shortages and traffic jams. At one point, you know, the Florida Turnpike and 95 North were about 5 miles an hour. So I really understood people like my neighbor who said, what am I going to do? Am I going to get in a car, and who knows if I'll get gas? Who knows if I'll get a hotel room? So you make life-threatening decisions whatever you do. I'm really tired of hearing people scold Floridians for not leaving. I mean, leaving was no bargain. It was no picnic to get out of this state. And I gotta tell you, oh, Jesus. So 15 minutes, then the eye's going to come out. That's probably going to last about 20 minutes, and then the backside of the storm. And then we'll see if what they're saying is true. Is there going to be a 15-foot storm surge? Is it going to come up abruptly and suddenly? That's what they've warned us. That's why everyone's phone is blinking. If that does happen, the first story of most buildings, the first floor of this hotel that we're in, and a lot of single-story dwellings could be underwater. We could see people on their roofs at night if that does happen. But with all these storms, you have to wait and see if it actually does happen, Shepard.
I think it will. Janice Dean is with us watching. Janice, this is the front edge, the leading eye wall, we presume.
That's exactly right. If you look at the radar, you have the strongest winds right now over Steve Harrigan, and we're saying 115 mile-per-hour sustained winds right now from the National Hurricane Center. That's their latest advisory. And then, as Steve mentioned, I think around 4:50 p.m. Eastern Time is when he will experience that crazy calm when the eye of the storm actually comes over Steve.
How's it going, Steve?
It's fine, Shepard. I know that you'd like to be here right now.
You always want to be where the storm is, but, you know, you do what you do.
Hey, you're doing a great job there.
It's very dry here, and we have catering, Steve. You know, watching you is unpleasant.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
You should.
But this is, you know, it can buckle you a little bit, but it can't knock you off your feet yet. Its water's about 6 or 7 inches, and it's beginning to pool. It's dark and there's not a soul out. We've seen a few people walking around earlier in the day. Now no one's out, and in the distance people are just sort of like shadows or figures because the visibility is down to about 0. You can understand why a first responder would be putting his life at risk were he or she to venture out in these kind of conditions. You have a power line dangling over there. Power lines are going to be coming down. You have trees snapping. You have debris in the road. And you have wind that could, in gusts, certainly move your vehicle off the road as well. So I know that first responders in the Naples area are itching to get out and save people. And I think, you know, rules might be bent or broken in the next couple of hours for them to do so. But it would be suicidal to be driving around in this right now, Shepard.
September 10th is a lot of things. September 10th is the absolute peak of hurricane season. It is the most hurricane-y day of the entire hurricane year, September the 10th. And September 10th is also, should you tell them or should I?
It's not about us, right, Shepard?
It is this time. It's Steve Harrigan's birthday. And what are you going to do on your birthday? Go to a ball game, maybe hang out with the family, or do you want to be on the leading edge of the eye of Hurricane Irma, standing in the water in Naples, Florida, and talking to Moron Shepard back in New York? Steve, thank you for choosing the latter.
No way, man. Thanks, Shepard. Let's just hope everyone gets through this okay. You know, as Senator Rubio said this morning, you don't want to be the guy that a tree falls on, and we certainly don't want to be that guy here, Shepard.
No, you never do.